Welcome to the Road is Dead podcast. I'm your host, Robert Curtis, here in the Cymet studio with
Leah Sanda.
and joined remotely by
Tim Strelecki.
And here we are once again. This is February 12th.
12th?
And I had to look at my watch to get the date, and my watch reminded me that I am being unproductive right now, which is to say I'm doing something physical, but apparently Garmin says it's not worthwhile. So I'm just wasting my time.
My Garmin's been telling me that since after Nationals.
Nice.
All the way through till today even.
I at this point, I don't mind seeing unproductive. It's better than the detraining that I saw for a long time, which is never good to see. But I don't know. I've been getting on the bike, getting on the trainer since we last talked. I've actually been on the trainer like 5 or 6 times, I think, which isn't much because it's been 2 weeks. But, not bad for me. I'll take it. Even yesterday's was only like 30 minutes or something, but it was SST. Yeah. And okay. I did one set and mentally just started cracking at the end of that set.
That was my next question. Now you have planned duration. How far into it did you make it before you got off? Did you complete said workout session?
I have been up until yesterday. Yesterday was the first time I've done any sort of, I wouldn't even call it intensity. It's SST. Yeah. So, it was 2 18-minute blocks. Now, if you know me, I can't do 18-minute sets. I just don't. I'm not good at that. I mean, I can do them, but I'm not good at it. It's why I don't do an FTP test. But that's not the only reason. 18-minute. I know. 18-minute blocks. Sorry, that brings up. I saw Logan Owen posted a meme today. And it was the face I make when my client says that the last FTP test he did was like 3 years ago. And it was this face of disappointment. I get it, but it was an 18-minute block, and I don't know, it started at something that was at that tickle point where you're working. It's not hard. It's perfectly doable. I know it will build on me, but then it ramps up to about, 20 watts below where my threshold is, and but over that 18 minutes, and the last like 7 minutes, 6 minutes, actually it was the last 4 minutes where I just lost it in my mind. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. Yeah, you can do it. Come on. And I'd let my heart rate come down a little bit, then go back onto it. And Zwift doing the workouts there, it pauses everything, so it doesn't let you out. You got to complete the set, whether you like it or not. So I don't know. Did it. I'm also not feeling 100%. I'm a little under the weather. You might be able to hear it in my voice. So my apologies if that annoys anybody. Hopefully I don't have any whistling in my breathing. But, is what it is. So hopefully I can get you sick before you leave for Tucson.
Please don't. So
you can enjoy all that warm weather down there. But speaking of warm weather, we're going to have some warm weather here in the Chicagoland area starting this weekend, it looks like, going into next week.
Gosh, I saw President's Day, a high of like 57.
50s, yeah, high 50s. So needless to say, there are plans in the works for a lot of people to ride on, it's Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim's laughing.
No, you can always tell. Like, I mean, granted, I've been stuck inside all winter. But you can always tell. It's funny when let me start over. You can always tell who is afraid to go outside when it's cold, because if you've been outside riding in the 30s and the 20s, whatever, for any duration, you're used to it. You're acclimatized to it, right?
Yeah.
And then you get like 45 or 50, and you see people out there that are dressed up like they're in the fucking tundra.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, you don't go out in the winter.
Yeah.
While you're there with like a summer base layer on, maybe a thin long sleeve and a vest. Your vest is probably open, it's flapping in the breeze. You're sweating.
For sure.
But then you got the guy that, you pass on the trail that's got ski goggles on, a winter helmet, lake winter boots, gloves that are up to his elbows that look
You know,
like,
Rob's
he's
sitting right here.
That's not me. I know I can see why you would say that, but to be honest with you, I rode out enough outside, and I do like riding outside in the winter.
yeah,
I have finally
yeah,
dialed. I think I have dialed my clothing and gear options to the point
yeah.
where I'm very comfortable when I do ride outside. I just stopped for that period where we had negative temperatures. It's like, you know what,
Oh
I
yeah.
could, but I don't want to. The wind is too high. The wind chill is unbearable. I don't want to do this.
That's that's when it gets dangerous because if you're riding, you're riding in the cold is one thing, but if you're riding in a cold wind, that's another thing. And if it's a
Yeah,
headwind, you got to push hard, so you're gonna sweat. And the minute you get cold, depending on where you're
it's
at
done.
in relation to your house, lights out. It could
Yep.
turn real bad real quick.
And you can
So
attest, like when I would go out and if it was cold enough and I got like a long enough ride in, that's why I always like doing fat bike when it's this kind of weather because you work
yeah,
harder and you go slower and you're
yeah,
usually in an area that is protected by trees. So there's
yeah,
not like wind. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and it's just better overall for doing that in cold weather. But you can attest, I would go and ride my fat bike, come back to the shop and change, and then it's hours where I'm cold,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it just,
yeah,
I'm cold for like the rest of the night. It just creeps in and stays there. And you just can't really fully warm up, it feels like, until you get in the shower.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm even like that on the trainer. I'm cold for hours after the trainer because I have like two fans on me. But
Oh, yeah.
when I'm indoors, I'm in like I wear a lot of layers indoors because I don't like the fan blowing on me, but it's a necessity. But I wear a lot of layers, but I'm usually cold for at least 3 hours after I get off the trainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
My hands especially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Extremities. My,
Yeah.
my, my toes would get cold while riding, but this time of year, not that anybody cares, but this time of year, I got a set of shoes that are what are they called? Bird dogs or something? I don't know. You knew about them when I bought them, but they're wool. They're like a wool shoe, and I always
Nice.
wear wool socks anyway, pretty much almost all year.
Hmm.
And so the wool socks with the wool shoes during this time of year, and I'm walking on the cold concrete floor, it actually
Hmm.
works out really well and keeps my feet pretty
Yeah.
warm pretty much the whole year. But
Yeah.
it can backfire on you, and if I wear the super heavy winter socks that I have from Silka,
Yeah.
I end up sweating quite a bit with them. But yeah, it's if my toes get cold while
Hmm.
riding, which doesn't happen as much because I figured that out kind of. But when they get cold while riding, even with the wool shoes back on, it'll be hours before my toes are warm again.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
someone accused me of having diabetic, or what do they call it, retinopathy or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know. I get the same thing. If it's
Yeah.
even slightly cold when I'm outside riding, afterwards, I'm fine while I'm riding, but afterwards is my all my fingertips go numb.
Yeah. I don't have like super technical gloves or I have a really good pair of shoe covers that I wear, like a puffy gore overshoe that I wear that's really, really nice. So I just use like toe warmers and hand warmers. When I come in, I usually just I'll either you if my hand warmers aren't dead, I'll put those in whatever clothes I have on for the rest of the day. Sink my hands in my pockets all the time. Sucks. Sucks
I
getting old.
If I use the toe warmers, the chemical toe
Yeah.
warmers, I will leave those on for the rest of the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And then
Until they're
it's
hard as a rock.
yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
sitting in my chair watching TV, and I've got
Yeah.
my little, I shake my feet, and
Yeah. Yep.
they'll just sound like maracas, as I'm sitting there as they shake in there. And
Yeah. Yeah.
after a while, Julia will just be like, "Can you throw those away? It's driving me nuts." So
Then you go put your cold feet on her. Warm me up.
yeah, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
So anyway, a
Well,
lot of stuff's been happening for the last few weeks. Have so you haven't been getting out at all? When are you back outside? Are you allowed to be back outside?
I have no idea. It's a waiting game right now. Like I have good mobility in my thumb. I'm doing all my exercises. I have really good mobility according to my physical therapist just from doing the program with them and then what I do at home. But I have to wait to see my doctor at the end of the month before I can like work on strengthening it. So I'm kind of in like I'm at a point to where I feel and my therapist feels that we could work on grip strength and doing stuff like that, but without his approval, can't really do anything.
Yeah.
So he wanted to wait a month between appointments for me seeing him. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I have good mobility. I'm still in the brace, but I'm able to ride the trainer a little better. I bought the cheapest pair of aero bars you could buy off of Amazon, like $20. They're absolute garbage, but they serve the purpose.
Yeah. And you're not hitting
So
bumps indoors. So,
right, and I bought those. I bought those before I got surgery, set it all up, and I've just been on a terrible, terrible indoor setup for over a month now. But it's allowing me to ride. So, but I'm to the point now where the last couple rides that I've done indoors, I've had my hands on the hoods. I'm kind of getting used to that again.
feeling okay again.
Yeah, but I gotta I made all these drastic changes to accommodate for these stupid aero bars. Now I have to go back and undo all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I flip my seat post around so it's super slammed forward. I got these aero bars that are like 10 yards long and they're pointed to the moon, and it's just I put like Zip Explorer bars on that are the reach is super short and shallow. Like it's the worst setup in the world.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Please
And
take a picture.
I have one.
Send me a picture. We'll
I-
make it the cover for this episode.
I took like 6 of them because I was just like, this is so dumb. Like this setup is terrible. And I was gonna post it on my social media and kind of roast myself, but then I'm like, this is too embarrassing. I can't do
Nah. Send it to us. We'll make it the cover for the
terrible.
episode.
Yeah.
Then you
I
can
got
share it
like
on
a
social media.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's goofy, it's uncomfortable, but it's at least allowing me to get some work done.
Mm-hmm.
Goofy
It's
and
really hard
uncomfortable.
when you don't sit in an aerodynamic position like that
Oh yeah.
forever. Like it's been 30 years since I sat in an aerodynamic position
Yeah,
like this.
you find a whole new spot of your on your undercarriage that isn't used to being sat
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah, totally. But like, I mean, I had to play with it for at least 2 days straight, just aero bars up, down, in, out. Like just I got it to the point where it's decently comfortable.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to win any races here, but it's funny though, because I got to the point where I'm somewhat comfortable, just for like endurance pace,
Uh-huh.
where I'm just slogging along, and I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. And then I started thinking, well, maybe I'll do some duathlons this year.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'll become a duathlete. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
I'm trying to remember what I did. I God, forever ago. Do you remember when they had I don't know if you were around. They had a criterium in Peoria,
Okay.
and I crashed. This would have been,
Oh,
man, 2009 maybe. And I got I think it was a stress fracture, but it was on my scaphoid bone, which is
I know
one
that.
that they get really nervous about that one, right?
Yeah.
And so I put my clip-on aero bars on my road bike on the trainer with the front wheel propped up and stacked about a foot of towels on top of that too,
Yeah.
just trying to find a position that I could ride in on the trainer.
Yep.
But
Yeah. That's exactly where I'm at. But you gotta do what you gotta do to make it happen. I would be in a much worse spot if I didn't, do what I have to do to do this.
yeah, but you know what?
We got another guest.
We got Steve Fury.
Steve Fury's in. I can't tell with our setup
gotta
whether or not
scooch
he's on
closer.
camera, but
He's
he can
not.
swing around.
He's not. Now he is.
I got a face for radio.
Yeah, you do. You got a voice for radio
Yeah.
too.
You might have a face for radio if you work on it a little.
No, but yeah, it's a terrible setup, and I hate it. There's been so many times where I've gotten off just handful in the buttonhole jar and just
Oh yeah.
We got to go. I'm severely uncomfortable here.
I was going to mention that. So if you are riding in a TT position or indoors quite a bit and you're finding that your undercarriage is not exactly liking it, please stop and grab some buttonhole chamois cream. Go to your local bicycle retailer. If they do not have it on hand, I highly recommend telling them to pick some up. Once again, buttonhole chamois cream. You can also, if you need to, you can buy it at enzocyclingproducts.com as well. And it is for sale on treadsavvy.com as well. Tread Savvy, where you can go and get your latest cycling needs. I'm kind of low on some product right now, the road stuff, because I did sell quite a bit of it at the swap meet, which we will get to in a second. But we were mentioning TT setups and everything, and Leah just sold her. I was thinking about running some more TTs myself this year, like getting on them. I know that Triple X is running an actual state championship TT, if it's not your TT.
It is not.
It is not? Okay. So they're running one in Kankakee, aren't they?
Yes.
That will be the state championship TT this year. It's I think he said it's a tad bit shy of 40K. So yeah, I would like to do it. I think I know I did the one at the Autobahn race last year, and then I did another late in the season Matt's one. That's a part of the ABR series, Mid-American Time Trial Series, MATTS. And that's fairly well done. They're not going to go back. I was at Sycamore Speedway. They're not going to go back again this year to that, but they're really pushing it. You were saying earlier, Leah, weren't you?
Yeah. They're trying to get more ridership into the Matt series. I looked it up really quick before we hopped on here, and it looks like that right now they have about 10 races, roughly, time trials.
Yeah.
And there could be more added as they go along. I've done some of them in the past. I know people that is all they do. There's no argument that it's absolutely phenomenal training. You learn you learn a lot about yourself in a time trial. You really do. It's just a question of whether or not it fits in with people's schedules. Kenny and I chatted a little bit about that, and he was saying, hey, this would be a great thing for those of you that don't race until cross season. It's something to do, a little intensity work during the summer. Something to look at. And their website is wiilcycle.org.
Yeah. They had a lot of them out.
The Mats one?
Yeah.
Sorry.
A lot of the Mats courses were out by my house, out in there's one that's real close, like in Virgil.
Yeah.
Meredith. It's super close to my house. I was actually on a ride one Sunday morning, or whatever the day it was, and I was doing one of the old bicycle heaven loops. I was doing it in reverse, and I kept seeing all these people. I'm like, wow, this road is rather crowded for
pretty
today.
Popular,
right?
And then and then I was like, oh, they're doing the Mats race here, and so I rode in one. I passed Brenda when she was actually riding or in the TT, and I'm like, I gotta pass Brenda, so I passed her, and then I started going the way of the route, and I'm like, I need to get off this course. I passed Dash, and he was like, hey man. I was like, hey man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think TTs are great. A few years ago, I was like heavily invested in them. I liked them. I traveled up to Wisconsin. I did they have
bong.
the double bong. I did the double bong. That one was awesome. I think it's like you said, Leah, you really find out how either good you're going or how bad you are. Because you can't hide.
So much of it is mental, that willingness to sit in discomfort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I find I have a better ability at doing that and pushing myself to do that if I'm in a TT at a race than I do if I'm sitting on a trainer trying to do a fitness test. So for me, it's a nice way.
It's visual stimulation.
Yeah.
Stuff's going by you, and your brain's working and not thinking about, oh man, I haven't literally moved. I've just been sitting in one place, banging my head against the wall.
Yeah, no, you're changing your weight. You get the wind hitting you. You're taking turns.
Hey,
you
guess
got
what,
carrots
Rob?
up the road.
You don't need a TT bike to do them.
I understand. So I was going to get to that. So in that Matt series, they added, the reason why I went and did it is they added the road bike categories last
Mm-hmm.
year.
I saw that.
I mean, they may have had it year before, I don't know. But I saw them last year, and I decided to enter the road bike category. What I used to do back in the day, though, to get to your point, is I had this is back in the mechanical days where it was a little bit easier, I think. But I would take my road bike, if this is an idea for others, but I would take my road bike in those single bolt binder seat posts. So the ones that have infinite adjustment, and they just use one bolt to tighten them up, and they've got like 2 cones that kind of go in the center. And Trek kind of came out with them a bunch of years ago, and I would take one of those seat posts and reverse it, because you can get it to stick really far forward, and then because it's that single bolt, you can actually get the saddle level now that it's changed that angle and gone forward. So you can take your road bike setup, flip the seat post around, and you're already up in a TT forward position. And then
That's exactly how I'm set up right now.
I had my cockpit. I got a set of really cheap aluminum base bars and cheap aluminum aero extensions. And then I just put basic brakes on and shifter on there, mainly for the rear. That's all I had on there. Yeah. And I had the cable ends super glued so that you didn't have to have crimps on them or anything. So I could sit there, and I had it down to where, and they had its own stem and everything. So I could pop my stem and road bars off, just loosen all the anchor points, pull it off, and all the cables would come out. And then I would just drop the new ones, run them through the housings back to where they needed to go, and drop the front end on. And in less than an hour, I could change from a full crit setup to a TT setup, and it would work pretty well. Nowadays, it would be a little bit more difficult. You'd have to bleed the brakes. There's no way around that. But you could still do a fairly inexpensive setup, and if you're running full electronic, and you've got like the blips like SRAM, or even now with the semi-wireless on the Shimano side, but you'd have to run like a road lever or something. But regardless,
if I were to get into it, I would look at one of those, like Pros Closet or Bicycle or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd look for anything that was rim brake.
Yeah, you could get a very an inexpensive time trial rim brake.
You could get a good Cervelo rim brake bike, like a P5 or something.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know I wanted a P3 for the longest time, but a P5 would be nice.
I had an awesome P3. I loved it.
This young lady sitting next to me had a unused, warranted felt DA aero bike, brand new.
The frame was new. It was replaced in a warranty replacement in like 2017, but the original frame I had purchased in 2007. So all the parts were from 2007. They were all 10-speed SRAM red.
Wow.
But the frame, I got the warranty replacement frame thinking I never rode it. I never set it up. I never did anything. It's been sitting in my basement. So much to Rob's dismay, I sold it for almost nothing to Rich Smott's kid.
I'm very happy that Rich Smott's kid has it and is going to use it. That being said, she was like, "Oh, should I take it to the swap meet and sell it?" And I was like, hold on to it. We can probably sell it for more, or do a better job of selling it on Marketplace or something." And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, if you're really not going to use it, I'm planning on doing some TTs. I wouldn't mind using it for a season, And then I woke up late or wasn't paying full attention to the group chat thread, and somehow she brought it up and threw it on there, and it was gone.
No, Rich reached out to me directly, and he said, "Hey, what are you looking for that?" So that went from there. Snooze, you lose.
Yeah, apparently. So I would have had a nice TT bike. I didn't. So now I'm back still doing the road category.
You could probably work out a shared custody deal with Carter.
I doubt it. Carter's a lot shorter, so there's a lot of changes he's going to have to make to it to fit him that aren't going to work for me. How big was that?
It's a 51, and they run long. They're big bikes.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect. I would have loved it. I was kind of hoping that because you size up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about bikes. You size up sometimes, and you'll run like a 54-ish.
My Van Dassel was a 53, but I've been running like a 52-ish right in there, as opposed to what I used to run was like a 49.
But if you were running on the high side, it would be a size frame that I know wouldn't actually work for Carter. So, but unfortunately, you went on the small
Isn't there
side.
some kind of TT bike sitting in the rack downstairs? There's like a giant. It's sitting in the rack downstairs, isn't there?
Giant TT bike.
Or is that a track bike? Is he thinking a track bike?
I don't know which one you're talking about. We had a TT bike at one point, but I think that's gone. It was a very old one, very small one. I think it had 650 wheels on it and stuff. But that's been gone for quite a while.
Or you can just take your road bike and do it on that.
I think I'm going to take my road bike and do it on that.
Keep your life simple.
We know that I'm not going to be doing a lot of crits this year.
Ooh, shots thrown.
I mean, I'll do Cobb Park.
You'll do Cobb.
You know, if you sweet talk him enough, you'll get him back out.
Oh,
there.
I can whisper sweet nothings in his ear.
All right.
Again?
I get to do. I'll do 50
Always
this year.
All right.
Yeah,
So for those that don't know,
Can I swear on this?
Steve Fury
Oh, shit.
is the race director. He's a race director for a whole crap ton of races and has been forever.
You've been on the podcast before. We've had you on here,
but we were actually going to talk about this a little bit today. Is a new series called the Midwest Cup for this year. That is is 3 weekends. The first weekend is down in Indiana, and it's the Fat Skinny Tire Fest, and that is May 15th through 17th. And they have a collection of different races. I know they have a crit and a road race, or is it a circuit race?
No, they have a crit on Friday night, and then a road race on Saturday, and then another crit on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the next weekend is the June 6th, 7th weekend. That is Elmhurst Cycling Classic on Saturday the 6th. And Steve's race, Cobb Park, down in Kankakee on the 7th. And how long have you been running that race?
A long time. Long time.
Did you start it or?
No, it was, best I can tell, there was a guy, Nick Hand, down in St. Louis that said his dad remembered racing it in 1983. That would have been graduation of high school for me. So
wow.
I know a lot of guys that have stories of racing it in the 80s for sure.
See, that's awesome that it's still around.
Yeah.
We've lost so many, but this one's stuck.
And do you have
great venue?
Any statistics on how many times somebody has gone into the river?
Dozens.
Personally, I've seen one. And he was lucky he wasn't in the water because it was really low that year.
Ooh.
And it was one of your guys.
Ours?
Yeah, Steven.
Far?
Far?
No, not far.
No.
One row.
Oh, one row.
Yeah. Coming in clockwise to the finish. I happened to be down there just because I was thinking something like that was going to happen. And sure enough, he came through that turn too hot, went right over the curb and into the tree and right down to the bottom. But he was dry and he was okay.
Right now is when we need Smotty here because Smotty would be like, well, in 87 you had, list off 5 riders.
Not to scare anybody away from it. It is an absolutely phenomenal course, and it's a beautiful venue. It's right on what river is that? Kankakee River. Big, huge park in the middle. It's just absolutely
fun
beautiful. Day. So that's going on. And then there's the Grand River
shootout.
Yes. That is August
Michigan.
1st and 2nd that weekend, and that's up in Michigan. Yeah. And so this collection of races, there's going to be a prize purse of $10,000 in the elite men's and women's. And I just found out that women's category 3 will have also a cup scoring separated out of the P1, 2, 3 women, and that there will be a Masters women's scoring for the cup also.
As far as I know.
Nice.
We had a call Tuesday night which unfortunately I missed, which a lot was discussed, but
Yeah.
I do believe that is the case. Yes.
And what are the other cup categories?
There is, well, the pro men 1, 2, 3, pro women 1, 2, 3, men 3, 4, and then women's 3 will be
3.
taken out of, I believe, the
1, 2,
women 1,
3.
2, 3. Yes. And then I don't know if we have a masters or not. I'd have to look, but yeah.
Okay.
So
Who's the brainchild of this whole cup? Sounds like you have a big thing to do with it, Steve. Yeah.
well, it was Tim Radcliffe had a conversation, and Tim's the race director for Elmhurst. He had a conversation with someone. I can't recall who. And he approached me, and I said, that's a great idea. And then between he and I, we kind of came up with a couple of races to include. Tim reached out to Greg at Fat and Skinny and reached out to Ryan at Grand Rapids, and both of them were, interested. And we had a couple of conversations, and it's gone from there. And Ryan's last name escapes me, but he's the race director for the Grand Rapids Shootout, and he is he's a stay-at-home dad, so he has a lot of time to work on this stuff for us, and he's done a lot of work
awesome
for it. So
it's good to see something else come to the Midwest other than the Grit Cup.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay,
and
nice.
if it goes well, there's room for expansion. We don't know what races we would include, but and if it doesn't go well, then hey, it was a good idea and we tried.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if you could get so you have 2 Illinois locations or 2 Illinois races. If you can find another Indiana race that's proximity favorable for everybody, like the Fat and Skinny is, and then maybe 2 in Michigan. Make it a 6-race series.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Anybody got a race in South Bend or anything?
I'm sure there is.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I don't think so.
There used to be a collegiate race when Notre Dame used to host a collegiate race, but that was
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
What about Ohio? Or is that too far?
That's kind of far.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At the risk of pissing off Ohio people, fuck Ohio.
I think there used to be, or from what I've seen, like a year or 2 ago, there was a crit at the Major Taylor venue.
There is
Yeah,
a crit.
Still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Momentum Indy or something like that?
Yeah.
No, not Momentum.
no, that's a different one.
Marion puts on a race
Okay.
there.
A crit.
Okay.
Yeah, right around the velodrome.
The Momentum series that's a great weekend of racing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But like I said, it's cool to see something else come to the Midwest other than the one that's been around for
Yeah,
forever.
absolutely.
So kudos to you guys for
Yeah.
kicking it off and having bringing incentive for people to sign up, like the prize purses and stuff like that. So you guys will probably get some really good fields.
Hopefully. That's the plan.
Yep. Yeah. Here's me on the whole. Every time they brought up prize purse, I'm like, you don't need prize purse, but they got it, and it's going to pay out. So,
can I ask a question? This might seem stupid, but why do you make the decision to make it P123 and not just P12?
more people racing.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. So if it's just P12, I know at Elmhurst, that's the same weekend. Your race in Elmhurst are the same weekend as Tulsa Tough. Yeah. And as a result, as a result, you have less P12s.
Makes sense.
I mean, in our state, I used to have the numbers, and I don't have the numbers anymore, but I remember that the numbers were very small for the number of P12s there are even registered, have a license in this state.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cat 3 lifers. So
yeah, and Tim, I literally was talking to Tim Ratcliffe. He's a promoter at Elmhurst. I was talking to him this morning. He was here in the shop, and we were talking about that exact fact. And he's like, we'll have more people racing if it's a 1, 2, 3. He goes, and the Cat 3s are going to get spit out the back anyway. So who cares?
Yeah.
And that's really true. And the 3s are going to sign up for it because they got to test themselves,
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, but why not? I mean, I just
look at it from like a safety standpoint.
Okay. And that's what I was wondering. I kind of figured that, but
like your Tulsa Tough is like, speaking of just from a Masters field, the Masters field at Tulsa Tough is just 1-2, right? And I think at Toad it's 1-2-3, and then the Grit Cup is 1-4.
1-4, yeah.
So it's like, it's just a safety thing. When you swell a field that big or that much, a lot of bad things can happen.
Well, and I
Just
think a
based
lot
off
of it,
pure speed.
yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with, to your point, swelling the field. If you have, it all depends on the audience and who's actually showing up for it. So like when we look at the Grit and it's 1-4 for Masters, they're still small fields. I mean, not super small when they're combined.
It's a little bit of a
small.
turnoff. It's a little bit of a turnoff for Cat 4s to want to go jump in those fields too. So it's not really drawing a lot.
I know. I sat there multiple times and people were like, "Hey, you want to race the Masters race at like Mundelein or whatever?" And it's like, no, I don't have. And quite honestly, it's because you were signed up and the White brothers are signed up, and it's like when Tim is towing the line, I have no business towing the line at the same time. I
usually don't either.
I mean, I meet the requirements, but that shows you how wide the requirements are.
You can pay the entry fee.
Yes, I can donate my entry fee.
Again, this is just coming from a participant, not a person that donates their time to organize. So it was just a question.
Yeah, it's more of from what I understand, it's more of a participation thing, because they're literally, if it's just P1-2, there's not enough to fill that field, especially on a Tulsa Tough weekend.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Outside of that, though, it's a good series. I'm glad we're getting it. I'm glad it's spreading out, and registration is open, I believe,
for
the series, isn't it? Or it's open for Elmhurst.
Yeah, no, I haven't even permitted CABDA yet. I'm working on Autobahn. One thing at a time, my friend. I can't multitask.
Well, talk about Autobahn really quick.
Oh, well, we're back for our third year, Autobahn Omnium, and the brainchild was Mike Weiss down in St. Louis with Big Shark. They do a weekend Omnium the weekend before the Autobahn. They do a time trial Saturday morning, and then they have a Forest Park, I believe it is, venue for a criterium on Saturday, and then they also have a crit on Sunday. And I figured, well, since we're at the Autobahn, why can't we do that at the Autobahn? So, with Nikki Sip running camera, she does the time trial for us. Then there's a small break, and we last year we did the full course, and we're doing the full course again to kind of give it more of a road race feel as opposed to a criterium, which the way the Masters race last year, it really wasn't a road race feel. I don't think it was for anybody. It still had that crit feel, but and a little bit longer race on Saturday. And then we're going to do the North course this year, finish up on Sunday. So, you got your 3 races.
How long is the full course?
I believe it is 3.56 miles.
Right.
This is the same one we did last year? Or?
It is.
Okay. Because I can tell you I felt every bit of that 3.5 whatever miles.
Yeah.
Especially that wind. That wind was oof.
When it's a full course, was that the same exact course that they did when it was Intelligentsia? Did we do the full course when the Autobahn was in Intelligentsia years back?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Was that it? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember it now.
Yeah.
I remember it now.
Was it in Intelli?
It was one year. Yeah.
It was.
Remember.
Only once.
Yeah.
Only
once. Yep.
I'm sure I was there, but I don't remember it.
It's an expensive venue to get once they start their season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we do it before their opening day is April 1st. So we usually do it the last weekend in March. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's how it worked with us with Blackhawk.
Yeah.
Being able to get that. I always like doing that race. I wish that would come back, but somebody's got to step up. It's an expensive venue and you got to write a big check.
Right.
That was a good one too.
Yeah.
Then you got to do the gamble on who's going to actually show up.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows? So moving in the future, I know there's been a lot of talk. We've had some talk about doing tiered entries. We don't really do that with crits right now. We don't do it with cross either. But I know the Grit series does it. Other large gravel events do it. So it's the idea that, they open up reg and you get the best price you can possibly get. And then as you get closer to the event, the price goes up. And because no one pre-registers anymore, I think you're going to find that format is going to be applying to more of the grassroots crits and smaller events, just because you got to get the money in somehow for the event before the event actually happens.
So your late fee would be registering closer to the date.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I proposed. I guess I won't go into the details on which race, but I proposed the idea that you would have your regular race entry fee that we have now, and then the end of day Monday of the week of the race, you go change it to what the day of reg number is. So if it's $35 now and there's a $10 day of reg fee, then that's a $45 entry. So at the end of the day on Monday of the week of the race, it would switch to $45. And then the day of would still apply for race day. So it'd be an additional $10 on the day of the race, up to $55, which to me makes way more sense. And it still gives to some people, $10 isn't much, and they'd rather wait anyway and see what the weather's going to look like before they register. So they're still going to do that. But to a lot of people, they're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to get registered by the end of day on Monday. I'm done. Okay, I was talking about the CCC. I'm done with my race on Sunday. I've finished it. Now I've had all day at the office on Monday to figure out if I'm beaten and bruised or if my gear is shot and I'm not going to be able to really race this weekend. But I still have until the end of the day to register for next weekend's race without the price going up. But then, end of day, I'd like to see the price go up just to push some people into pre-registering, because this year was abysmal when it came to pre-registering for that series. So you can attest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I caught a deal for Grit. I was like, I missed it, and it kept going up and up and up and up, and I was like, oh. And then I kept looking at the number of registrants, and it was still really low heading into like 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
They were throwing out like discount codes, and it was like coupon stacking, and I got like a wicked deal. It was perfect. I was like, all right, I'll do all 10.
Yeah, I will admit that that pricing, I wasn't really feeling like I wanted to do it anyway, but a lot of people did put a lot of pressure on me and be like, hey, jump into this one or jump into that one. And I thought about it, and looking at that pricing at that late hour, it was like, there's no way that I'm going to jump into it, which is unfortunate for somebody like me, where you could jump into one race or two races. But the reality is, if Grit was a thing for me, I would have known that a lot earlier, and I just should have registered for it earlier,
Yeah.
But so hopefully from the race promoter standpoint, that we're going to see more and more of this as time goes by, because the reality is races aren't getting any cheaper to put on. So I think I touched on the last one. Cities, more and more cities and venues are less willing to absorb the costs that they have been absorbing. And I think a lot of people probably don't realize what those costs are, but a lot of venues are absorbing the public works costs and just throwing it in with their cost of doing business for existing. Some of them are absorbing the cops cost, and less of them are doing that. Some are absorbing the porta potties just because they have an account with the porta potty company and they do an annual billing or whatever. All of those things have changed for us in particular since the end of COVID. So most of the cities are really buckling down and making sure that any event is paying its own way, which is interesting. Agree, disagree?
Well, I will say not to, I guess, brag or shoot myself in the foot, but at Cobb Park, fortunately, we have zero costs.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I mean, we send a letter. Awesome. It's right now. The date is to send a letter to the city council to request road closures for our race day. The city manager puts it before the council. Once they approve it, I receive a letter saying your event has been approved. I get a call from Tony at Public Works, and he says, Steve, we're going to put out the barriers Friday night. We get there Saturday morning. We close the road 30 minutes before the event. We try and tape it off as best we could, but last year, so we had some drunk jet skier that lived a block away from the course, got on
I remember
the last couple of laps. I think it was in the 3s, 4s, and scared the absolute shit out of me.
Wow.
But yeah, so, and then we put them right back where they were the morning of, and I get another phone call saying everything work out, and I say yes, and that's that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
nice when you get a race that gets to be that simple.
Yeah.
I was saying that
Yeah.
about some of our races. I mean, Woodstock isn't simple, but the planning for it is routine.
Yeah.
So it's the about this time of year, you tell them what the date it's going to be.
Mhm.
You know, we're good to go from that. We move on,
Yeah.
and then about a month out, we go, or like maybe 5 weeks out, we go, okay, when do you want the meeting? They make a plan
Yeah.
for a meeting. We go, we drive up there, we sit down at a table with a lot of people at it, and anybody, and they basically go, same thing as last year. Yeah, same thing as last year. What time are you getting there? What time are you clearing out? You know, do you guys want any of this? Do we need to do that? How many porta potties do you need?
Yeah.
Do you guys, the first responders, have any questions or anything? And it's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then we're good to go.
Yeah.
Which is nice because back in the day, I remember when I took over the Fox River Grove Criterium, I was required to go in front of the village board during a village board meeting and make my case for the race. And then I had to pay them $2,500, like non-refundable or anything, pretty much that night. Give them a cashier's check. And that was to help cover their costs. And then it got down to we were paying like $500-600, I think, for the cops, and that was pretty much it. We had gotten out of having to do the barriers. We had gotten out of having to do. They had a mobile command center that they wanted there. We had the ambulance there, all that kind of stuff, and we got rid of all that over time. And then after COVID's when they came back and they were like, you know what? We need to get you on the porta potties. We need to get you on the public works time for dropping this off and dropping that off. And all of a sudden those costs, really added up. And when you looked at declining, participation on the rider side, you didn't have the money coming in. So it was a net loss. And, you can't do that for very long unless you're a glutton for punishment like me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It is nice to have the routine when you get to the point where it's a routine. That particular meeting at Fox River Grove got to the point where it was you, me, and not even you all the time. And then the police chief and the public works coordinator. That was it. A one-time meeting, like a week or two out from the event.
I feel like it all also boils down to the community embracing the event. Like every time I've ever gone to Kankakee, the vibe there is always good. The neighborhood is good. They're welcoming. They never, there was always big parties on that one corner. They embrace it pretty good. The Fox River Grove one, when we used to do it, or when you put it on, Rob, it seemed like there was mixed in that community.
It was
Some
definitely
supported
mixed.
it, and then there were some that were like irate that it was happening.
It was way better than it could have been for a lot of years. Every now and then there would be one or two people that would have issues. The biggest one was the ones that would try to drive over the cops to get to their house. And it's just like, this is a cop. You can say what you want, you can think what you want, but you have a police officer standing in the road directly in front of your vehicle. At that point, I'm sorry, but you have to listen, and that's why we paid for a cop to stand at the main corner, because it was like, you know what, I can stand there, I can send somebody else to stand there all day, but if they don't have a little badge on their uniform, no one's going to listen to them, and they're just going to drive over them.
Yeah, barreling down the hill to make that last corner.
Yep.
Last thing you need to. It's dangerous enough. You don't need to be driven into.
But we did have at least one guy. I know there was one guy at the end, from what I remember, that got pretty irate about it. you know, and it's always the same thing. It's you keep me a prisoner in my home. You're not a prisoner, you know. I know it's a foreign concept, but you can do this thing called walking, and you can walk out of your front door, walk down the hill, and walk to the shopping center that's right there where you could have parked your car the night before or earlier that day or whatever. But, you know, the idea of having to walk anywhere is just a travesty and against their American rights at this point. So
Walking is hard.
yeah, apparently.
Hence why there's no longer a race there.
Yeah, that's part of the expense is the big thing. It was a lot of work because we did have to go around and advise every single person that was on that course, and tell them, hey, this is when the race is, this is how it goes. And that was a big draw to that. And then we would have to come up with a lot of money for straw bales because they still required that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then find a source for straw bales, which was harder and harder to do every year.
Yeah.
And then find a place to dump the straw bales because they were considered basically toxic. It was crazy. We had to put 55-gallon plastic bags over every straw bale because if any of them got wet, absolutely no one would take them. But because we had them covered, we could we would eventually find some farm somewhere that would use them as bedding, you know, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah,
so, which would work, but then that's another 2 hours of driving them somewhere after the race was over. At one point, we got in line with, I think, Monsters, and we shared bales between Monsters and us, one way or the other. I can't remember, but I don't know. All that's stupid. I'm glad I hate to say it, I'm glad we don't do it anymore. And at the end of the day, it was a race, a very short circuit crit that had a very difficult climb on it that people just decided they weren't good at, and so they stopped coming to it. You know, and the handful of people that were good at it showed up every year and loved it. So
I always liked it.
Yep.
You're part of that handful.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see it in a lot of crits these days. If there's a hill, people are like, I don't really want to do that, you know, unless it's Tulsa.
Yeah, I like to hear the banter for crits around here in this general Midwestern area.
We don't have hills.
Yeah, I know when people will get off the course and they'll be like, well, there's a climb on the back, and it's like, what climb? What are you talking about? There's no climb. Oh yeah, no, it's uphill on the back. And
that
then
0.5%.
you write it. It's like a 0.5% or 1%,
Yeah.
you know, for 3 city blocks, you know, and it's like, I guess that was a climb. And especially if it's coupled with a headwind, ooh, that's going to kill half the field. But anyway, jumping forward, I know we had a couple of things we wanted to hit before because we're getting long here. CABDA, which is the Chicago Area Bicycle Dealers Association. That's what it originally stood for. It's just used as CABDA now, but they put on a show that basically took the place of Interbike. And they have one in Vegas, they have one on the West Coast, and they have one here in Chicago. They started it back up in Chicago a bunch of years ago. We've covered it here before. We, as Buttonhole, have gone out and had a booth there in the past. Decided not to have a booth there this year because, you know, every other year might be a good idea. Every year, it's not needed. And I noticed, so we went, it was last week?
Yeah,
2 weeks
last
ago?
week,
Last week?
Wednesday, Thursday.
So I went both days. You went both days. I made it a point to attend they have training sessions and seminars and stuff. Went to a few of those this time, which I normally never do. And, darn it. I got a doctor's appointment coming up. That just derailed me because I'm thinking about getting a blood test. Anyway, I'm what was. It was a good show. Good show. Lots of good people. The attitude was actually surprisingly good, I felt, from a lot of people. And I say surprisingly good because the industry is not doing well. It's really not doing well right now. Numbers are pretty abysmal for just about everybody. I know some of the large OEMs are in some really bad shape. But anyway, outside of that, the ongoing joke is that it's an e-bike show, and to be honest with you, it really is. We counted this year how many companies were there that had actual bikes or real bikes or acoustic bikes, if you want to call them that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Less than 5.
Less than 5.
It was.
I remember 2.
There were 2, but I think there was a third.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was Jameis was there, and they had regular bikes. What was the other one? Reed Bicycles had some regular bicycles.
Wasn't Cervello there?
I didn't see Cervello. They
Who
may
was
have
there?
been there.
There was somebody else there.
But then Bianchi was there.
Bianchi.
And they had regular bicycles. They had a very small booth, but they had regular bicycles there. So, out of all the exhibitors, and as large as that hall is, Fuji was there, yeah. There was only a handful of actual bicycles there. And that handful of actual bicycles was matched in quantity by a handful of actual electric motorcycles that were there at the show.
Yeah.
I mean, actual motorcycles.
Like full on, like, we're
no
not
pedals.
Even, nothing. Yeah.
Just straight up motorcycles.
Bunch of Hardleys.
Large vehicles, that were basically e-motorcycles. I was kind of shocked with that, but it's like, whatever. You just kind of ignore it and walk on and go do your bike stuff. But we attended a fit class, which was interesting. We attended, it was more of the psychology of fitting, wasn't it? I don't know. How would you
a little
summarize
bit of that, but then it started getting into some nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And then,
kind of like the psychology of what your customer really wants in a fit.
Yeah. So they talked about that up front, right? What else did we do? We lurked in stuff in the back of Brandon's.
Yeah, I sat in a Di2 tech session with Shimano. Which, I did everything in my power to not try to interrupt every 3 seconds ago. Actually, is that because of the whatever? My apologies, Brendan. But, to his credit, he didn't yell at me. So, but that was fun.
He did. You just didn't hear it.
I got some looks. I think. And then we went to a couple where it was kind of, what was the one? It sounded good. We sat down, and about 2 minutes in, you figure out it was an e-bike thing about e-bike distribution.
Right. And I think I pretended to take a phone call.
And got up, and it's like, I'm going to join her. Bye. But we sat there long enough that you started falling asleep. And then there was one on import-exports. Which I did find interesting, but at one point it was like, all right, time to go. Mm-hmm. So interesting, good show. Glad we went. Some new connections. We did see that. So Classified is coming in and going to market now.
Hubs.
So Classified hubs, these are the ones that shift to have a 2-gear range in the rear hub itself, effectively eliminating the need for a 2x front drivetrain, but still giving you that wide range so you can have a tighter cassette. They had some gravel setups and mountain bike setups, I want to say. But they are bringing in, because what's been happening is, at one point, Boyd was the company bringing it kind of into the U.S., but I never really got full details from Boyd on all that. And then somehow it changed to TRP. So TRP is bringing them in. And we started talking to him, and I said, we think there's some applications for cyclocross and some gravel applications, obviously. And he mentioned that they had Strohmeyer on it before, but it wasn't long enough before he went to Europe to get him comfortable enough with it to take it to Europe. So he did not take it to Europe, but he said they're still working with Strohmeyer for this year to try to see what they can do. The one thing I was kind of about is that you have to run the TRP derailleur and shifters in order to actuate their shifting in the rear. Cassette-wise, it doesn't really matter. And crank wise, it doesn't matter, but you have to run their shifters, their brakes, and rear derailleur, which is an electronic system. But we all know that it's just a Bluetooth signal that goes to the classified hub. So it's just a matter of hacking it and figuring out how to actuate it. And you can't tell me you can't assign that to another button somewhere if you want to run a different system. So I think they kind of missed the boat on that, because no one's going to go out and replace their, Shimano GRX system or SRAM, Force or Explorer group with a TRP group. It's just not going to happen. So hopefully they don't hold fast to that. If they open that up, they would probably sell more units. But that was CABDA. Anything else major that you saw or thought of?
No, I think you really kind of summed it up.
After that, we led into the swap meet. Swap meet was good. This year, more people were buying. I don't know what it was. So I actually sold almost everything that I brought, which I was very surprised about. I actually had some tires from Tread Savvy. Everybody wanted to work a deal, and it's like, hey, the deals that I'm already charging online are already good enough. You don't get any additional, and if you don't buy them, I don't care. I'm taking them back. I'll sell them online. So, and believe it or not, even with that, still sold quite a few tires. So it was a good day. Sold out through a lot of gear, and had our ICA meeting. Talked about race promotion, stuff like that. Had a couple beers before going into the race promoters meeting, literally two. Before going to the race promoters meeting, made that probably one of the best promoters meetings I've ever gone to be honest with you.
It was tolerable.
It was tolerable, and I ended up starting a stopwatch when Kenny started talking at one point. So
3 minutes and 20 seconds is, I think,
which was really good.
Really good.
I thought it was going to be way longer, but it was not.
Impressive.
But yeah,
Gives
that's
you
it.
a run for your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Anything else you want to share?
Oh, I'm good.
Steve.
Training's going well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your big goals this year?
Big goals?
Yeah. A races? What are you training for?
Everything's an A race.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that stuff. I just train and race and do my best.
Stay fit enough to jump into whatever, whenever. Yeah. That's kind of my philosophy.
Yeah, I don't have like training races, and I
just kind of want to be able to race wherever and whatever, and there's nothing that I care enough about at this point in my life that it's worth sacrificing all the things.
Yeah. Just keep the rubber side down and keep all the skin.
Cool.
Yep, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
We'll probably get back at everybody in another 2 weeks. This time of year, not a bunch going on. So enjoy the good weather wherever you're at. Get on your bike, get outside and ride some. And unless anybody else has anything to add.
Well, two things.
Uh-oh.
Tim, congratulations on nationals. And thanks for having me.
Yeah. I got a participation medal somewhere around here.
I have one. Well, we're going to have some new. I'm going to redo this background at some point. Tim, if you have a free day, I want to help.
Yeah, me and my one hand.
Oh, yeah. Good
A
point.
week's worth of work.
Good point.
He can heckle.
I got some other stuff to talk to you about, which I don't know. That'll make that interesting. But we're going to redo this background, try to get some other jerseys in here. We got a bunch of other ones. And then we got the team award for the CCC.
Do you have it?
Ooh,
oh,
sweet.
And I mounted the jersey up and got everybody to sign it at the party. So, we're going to work this into the background somehow. So, first time in however many years, 16 years, 15 years that the team has been around and racing, that we have won the team competition at the CCC.
Hey, just a side note, the South Chicago Wheelmen were a very close second place. Not.
Yeah, you were not. You weren't even close.
I'm like, what?
How many,
I was gonna say you did damn good, Steve. You carried that monkey on your back the whole season.
I tried.
you got to, you got to blame Matt for everything. If he was good in cross, then you might have something. But he turns like a roadie, so he ends up eating shit all the time. Well,
that was funny. I remember doing like just a sight lap at the opener at the academy, and Matt was there, and I was coming up on him, and he washed out in the corner, and the first thing I did when I went around him was like, "This ain't the road, man."
Yeah. I yelled that at him.
I know.
He's been doing it for like 10 years too, and it's just like every year I see him and I'm like, remember, don't turn like a roadie, man.
Take about 62 PSI out of your tires right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If that first number isn't starting with a 2, then we shouldn't talk, You have work to do. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Thanks for joining us. Get out there and enjoy the weather. Get on your bikes, and maybe we'll see you in the e-space at some point for sure. But who knows? Until then, until next time, enjoy the ride.